Okay, let's unpack this deep dive. We're stepping into the world of professional genealogy today,
Mm-hmm.
and we're focusing specifically on one expert, Diane Henriks. This is really all about exploring her work, the knowledge she shares, helping people connect with where they come from.
Right. And the sources we have, they give us a pretty good picture. We've got material on her background, her business, which has a great name, by the way.
Oh, yeah? What is it?
Know who wears the genes in your family.
Huh, nice.
Yeah. And we also have a really extensive look at her speaking presentations. I mean, lists of topics, descriptions, where she's spoken, lots to dig into there.
Okay, great. So our mission here basically is to pull out the key nuggets. We want to understand her expertise, the sheer range of genealogy areas she covers in her talks,
Like,
and maybe figure out why her approach could be, really valuable if you are looking to discover and preserve your own family history.
sounds good.
Oh, yeah.
So let's get into it. Who is Diane Henriks? Well, the basics are professional genealogist, speaker, author, investigator. She's based in Los Angeles County.
Okay. And that business name again, know who wears the genes in your family.
Exactly.
It really does capture it, doesn't it? It speaks right to that mission, helping you figure out who you are, where you came from.
Mm-hmm. Building those connections across generations, making sure the family story gets told, gets preserved.
Yeah, it's definitely more than just, names and dates on a chart.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what really jumps out from the material is that she tackles some pretty challenging areas. Things like unknown parentage,
Oh, wow.
finding living descendants, which can be tricky,
Yeah.
hitting those brick walls everyone talks about where you just get stuck,
Uh-huh.
and just generally handling complex cases that need, well, a bit more digging.
Those definitely sound like the kinds of problems that, stop a lot of people in their tracks. So how does she approach them? What are her methods for these tough cases?
Well, that's where it gets interesting. It's not just one thing. She blends traditional genealogy research, hitting the books, looking at documents, records,
Right, the classic stuff.
with DNA analysis, which is huge now, obviously, and also descendant tracing. It's that mix, that strategic combination of tools that seems to be key for breaking through.
Ah, okay. So it's not just about the old census records or just about spitting in a tube. It's knowing how to weave them together effectively.
Exactly. And beyond those really challenging specialties, her list of services is quite broad. I mean, she does traditional family history, genetic genealogy, finding heirs, forensic genealogy.
Forensic, so like legal cases.
Could be, yeah. Helping people publish their family history, writing ancestor biographies, offering coaching, education, workshops, and, of course, all the speaking and lecturing we mentioned.
Wow, okay. She covers a lot of ground.
She's clearly very active, very involved in the professional community as well, member of various societies and guilds, Association of Professional Genealogists, ISOD, the Genealogical Speakers Guild.
Right. And all this work, it seems to circle back to that, so what? Why does genealogy matter?
Precisely. It connects right back to her mission. It's about identity, finding connection, sometimes even healing, through understanding your past. The idea that your story, your family's story, deserves to be told and preserved, that seems to be a real driving force.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's zoom in a bit on her role as a speaker, since we have so much info on that. What do the materials tell us makes her presentations stand out?
Well, they're described as topical, engaging, informative. Seems straightforward, but the reasons why people book her are more specific.
Okay.
Apparently, she brings real-world cases to life in her talks, which makes it less abstract. And she focuses on practical takeaways, things you can actually use.
Ah, that's key, not just theory.
Right. And her expertise shines through in those tough areas we talked about. Unknown parentage, DNA analysis, brick wall strategies. But the content itself is designed to be actionable and, importantly, easy to understand.
So useful for beginners and more advanced researchers.
That's the idea. She uses storytelling, case studies, hands-on examples.
Yeah.
It's described as a dynamic, interactive style, not just a lecture.
Makes sense.
Plus, she customizes them, tailors the presentation to the audience's specific needs and skill level. And she's available both in person and virtually.
Oh, that's a big plus, the virtual option. Makes her accessible pretty much anywhere.
Definitely.
Now, looking at the list of topics she actually presents on, wow, it's incredibly broad, isn't it? Seems like she has something for almost every aspect of genealogy.
It really is comprehensive.
Yeah.
The topics cover everything from, basic research skills to the absolute latest tech. For instance, under methodology, you've got titles like It's All in the Clues.
Catchy.
Yeah, and several versions of Break Down Those Genealogy Brick Walls for beginners, top strategies, etc., helping you figure out what to do when you get stuck. She also has this framework she calls the 6 W's in genealogy. Sounds like a practical guide for structuring your research or interviews or even teaching.
Interesting. And it looks like she's really embracing the future too, right? There's a whole section on AI and genealogy.
Oh, absolutely. She's right there integrating it.
Oh.
Titles like Unraveling Family History with AI, specifically mentioning leveraging tools like ChatGPT, the free version even,
Okay.
and Revolutionizing Genealogy, Unleashing the Power of AI. Big claims, but clearly she sees potential there.
So not just mentioning it, but really showing how to use it.
It seems so. She's got AI and Genealogy 101 for beginners, top 10 tips for using AI effectively. And this one's really unique. A talk on using AI to generate music to honor family history.
Whoa, AI-generated music for ancestors. That's different.
Yeah.
Very creative application.
Isn't it? And she's already looking ahead, planning talks on using Google's Gemini and AI features within Ancestry.com itself, so very current.
Definitely keeping up with the tech. Okay, shifting gears slightly to DNA. What does she cover there? It's such a huge area now.
Yeah, huge. And she tackles core topics. Things like, who is that mystery DNA match? Helping solve those genetic brick walls. Finding biological family. A beginner's guide. Basic stuff like Genetic Genealogy 101. She also addresses common questions like how to make sense of your ethnicity results or why siblings, might get different DNA results.
Yeah, that's a classic question.
Right. And there's an upcoming one called Uncovered Roots, which sounds really interesting. It's about how to build a family tree when all you have to start with are unknown DNA matches.
Wow. Okay, that's a specific challenge many face. Now, what about old-fashioned records and resources?
Still crucial, and she covers them in depth. Beyond just general talks on genealogical documents, she has this amazing series of deep dive presentations.
Deep dives.
Yeah, focusing on each individual U.S. Census year. So a deep dive into 1850, then 1860, 1870, 1880, all the way up to 1950.
Seriously, a whole presentation for each census year.
Apparently so. Imagine how much detail you could get into. They must be incredibly valuable for really milking those records for every clue.
No kidding. That's dedication.
And she's adding more deep dives, too, into vital records like birth, marriage, death certificates, and also church records.
Which can be gold mines, but sometimes hard to find or interpret.
Exactly.
And it seems clear she makes a big effort to welcome newcomers, right? Lots of talks flagged for beginner genealogy.
Oh, definitely. Genealogy 101, obviously. Beginner guides to brick walls, descendant research, writing and publishing, oral histories, even beginner guides to AI and finding biological family.
So a real pathway in.
Yeah, plus introductions to family tree software, genetic genealogy basics, how to organize your research, even using social media for genealogy. Seems like she covers all the initial hurdles.
That's great. Does she do specific ethnic research topics too?
Yes, the sources mention specific examples like Filipino genealogy, tracing your Filipino roots, and celebrating your German ancestry. So she does tailor talks to specific heritage groups.
Good to know. And for people who want to share what they find, you mentioned writing and publishing.
Right. She has talks on publishing your family history, including a multi-part walkthrough and an upcoming one promising the easy way. Plus beginner's guides, helping people turn their research into something lasting.
The easy way always sounds appealing.
Doesn't it? And then there's this whole category of other specialty topics that are pretty intriguing.
Like what?
Finding living descendants. She has a couple of talks on that, including a deep dive into finding living relatives now. Using genealogy to unlock dual citizenship.
Oh, interesting.
How to do genealogy for free. That's always a popular one, I bet.
Always.
And she gets into some more nuanced areas, too. Whispers from the past, uncovering family secrets, and an upcoming one about approaching family stories with a grain of salt, basically how to be critical about oral history.
Yeah, because stories can get embellished over time.
Right. And she even explores things like occupational records. So the range is just huge, from the basics to the tech to the human stories to specific records.
It really is incredible, covering the nuts and bolts, the cutting edge, and the very personal aspects. So where does she typically share all this expertise? Where does she speak?
Well, the sources list a real variety of venues. Big national conferences like the Utah Genealogical Association Summit of Excellence, the Texas State Genealogical Society Family History Conference.
Okay, major events.
Yeah. And big regional ones, too, like the Southern California Genealogical Society's Genealogy Jamboree.
Yeah.
She's even been a DNA and brick wall consultant there in the past.
Oh, so hands-on help too.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
She's also a frequent presenter for Legacy Family Tree webinars,
Mm.
including their My Heritage series, which reaches a huge online audience.
Right, I've seen those. Very popular.
And then she speaks for numerous local genealogical societies all across the country, multiple states listed.
So really, she's sharing this knowledge everywhere, from the big national stages right down to local community groups.
Exactly. Wide reach.
Okay, so pulling this all together, what's the main takeaway about Diane Henriks?
Well, she's clearly an expert professional genealogist, really skilled in those complex areas like unknown parentage, DNA, breaking down brick walls.
Right.
But what really seems to stand out, especially from the speaking info, is her knack for translating that deep expertise into presentations that are accessible, engaging, and practical for a wide audience.
Yeah, that breadth of topics is amazing. Everything from deep dives into specific historical records and solid traditional strategies, all the way to leveraging modern DNA analysis and even exploring really cutting-edge uses of AI in genealogy.
And ultimately, the goal behind sharing all that knowledge seems to be helping people go beyond just collecting names and dates. It's about truly connecting with their identity, understanding their past in a meaningful way.
And preserving their family's unique story for the future.
Exactly. That comes through really strongly.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you, the listener, to mull over. Considering all these diverse methods Diane Henriks uses and teaches, from painstakingly tracing clues in centuries-old records to using cutting-edge AI and complex DNA analysis, how might embracing your own family history journey, maybe using even just one of these approaches, reveal some surprising truths or connections, something that could actually change the way you see yourself and your place in the world?